It's during Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah said in Tzivkotin Samech Gimel, Mishnah Berurah said something which was a lot of halachas could be learned from this Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah over here learns that when a person has a wet beged on Erev Shabbos, so that beged was wet as of when Shabbos came in. The Mishnah Berurah told us how wet was that beged. It was wet. It was wet enough that if it touched it to something else, it could maybe even, it not only will it wet that thing, but when something would touch that thing, it would wet that. That was tefeach amas latfiach. And the Mishnah Berurah told us that when you have something that is of that nature wet, it's so wet that when you touch something, it touches something else, etc. So then, b'kai gofna, that's considered a muksa machnas iser, because that's the gezeira that Chazal said, where you don't want a person being metaltal a wet beged. But that's already, you could have learned that maybe Chazal made stomach zera, don't be metaltal a wet beged. No, Chazal didn't suffice with that. Says Mishnah Berurah, they made it muksa. They said if you touch a wet beged, if you metaltal a wet beged, so then it's muksa. Having a wet beged is a muksa. How wet, like we said. But the Mishnah Berurah says here a chiddush that you don't see anywhere else in Kemat any of the poskim that they never discussed it. But the Mishnah Berurah is the machadash of this. Mishnah Berurah says that the Kai Gavna, it becomes migudis katsai. If it was on Erev Shabbos, if it was wet, migudis katsai. Erev Shabbos, it's katsai l'kulei yoima. If it was wet on Erev Shabbos, it gets a shame of muksa. And once it has a shame of muksa, it becomes the whole entire Shabbos, it becomes muksa. Erev Shabbos, when I say Erev Shabbos, I mean ben hashmashis. Migdis katsai ben hashmashis. The kulei yaima, it's considered to be a muksa. That's what the Mishnah Berurah brings over here. Sounds like a davar pashit, right? Muksa machmas iser. Once something's muksa machmas iser, just like a candle that went out, muksa machmas iser. Once it's muksa machmas iser, it remains usher the entire Shabbos. It makes a lot of sense. The problem with this Mishnah Berurah is that there are many problems with Mishnah Berurah. Now we'll go one by one. First problem we spoke the other day was in Shin Yud and Sivkat and Yud Tes. There the Mishnah Berurah introduces us to a concept that the Mishnah Berurah tells us there's something called Gomrei B'dei Adam. This concept of Gomrei B'dei Adam is a site. It's really a Gemara. I mean, Mishnah Berurah is just quoting a Gemara. The concept of Gomrei B'dei Adam is that if you have something that's not roi right now, the Gemara's example is cholent. It's raw beans. It's not roi right now. And if you have that cholent, which isn't roi now because it's raw and raw food is muksa, so we don't say, well, later on when it becomes edible, that it remains muksa the whole Shabbos because migudis katsai. We don't say migudis katsai. We don't say that once something was muksa, as of when Shabbos came in, it remains muksa. If it follows the rules of Gomer B'dei Adam. What's Gomer B'dei Adam? Gomer B'dei Adam is something that's going to become roi. If it's going to eventually become roi, we don't look at it that the status that was remains. For carrot, we say if it's going to become roi, so then it doesn't have this din of migudis katsai, something that will eventually not have the problem. We look at it right now. So the cholent is going to cook. You put it over there on the fire, it's going to cook, it's going to become roi. So we say, therefore, it's not muksa. So we say, what's the chilik? It's a fish in cholent and a wet shirt. You have a wet shirt. Mishnah Berurah is talking about a wet shirt, which is hanging on some type of a hanger or some sort. And the Mishnah Berurah says that since it's wet enough, it's considered an indik zera of tiltal that you're not allowed to carry it because you'll come to squeeze it out. So why don't we say once it was wet, but it's going to dry? Mishnah Berurah is talking that it's on a hanger. Mishnah Berurah's case is that he put it on a hanger. So the stomach's going to dry. If that's the case, so then why don't we say b'kai gavna gomer b'dei adam? And not only that, the Mishnah Berurah says even when it dries. And so we know it's dry now. So then l'chayr we could say that it was oimid to be dried. If it was oimid to be dried, then why don't we say this is gomer b'dei adam? That's the grace of kasha. Allah chayim fragging the Mishnah Berurah. They all asked on the Mishnah Berurah this kasha. That kasha, the atzmai, it's not the worst kasha. Not the worst kasha. The ma'isa l'chayr is a very pashut teretz. And it gets more and more proud. It's interesting. You have to wait until somebody shouldn't speak this. You said, I saw the other day, the Rav Chanan, I think, Taken Beya speaks out a similar side. It's interesting. But the chilik is pashit, and that's Mistam Pshat in the Mishnah Berurah. The chilik is a very big chilik. What's a chilik? Who knows a chilik? What? So what? So what? The fire, when the fire on the oven, I'm not doing the fire. It happens on its own now with the fire. What's the difference between the fire and the sun? So what's the difference? It makes a difference if I did it? Why should it be a difference? Why should that be a difference? You tell them, let's say I didn't make the fire and, it came down from Shemayim. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. You're saying the chilik. What's the chilik though? Why? It could be saying what I'm about to say. There are other chilukim here that Chayim make. They're trying to make chilukim, which we'll see in a minute, very not pashut. The most simple chiluk, I think Rabbi had to say, the chiluk is that there's a difference between muksa machmas iser and muksa machmas gufay. And that makes a lot of sense. It's not just a chiluk, it makes a lot of sense. What's the lumdus of Gomer b'di'adam? Gomer b'di'adam says that, how could you tell me that item isn't roy? The cholent isn't roy. Why is the cholent not roy? Because right now, it's taka inedible, but eventually, you're going to be able to eat it. It's going to be cooked. So Gomer b'di'adam says, don't look at the status of it being roy, kafi the matzav of right now. You have to take into account the whole picture. If this cholent is going to be edible, if these beans are going to be edible, these raw beans are going to get cooked. So what are you telling me? It's not roy? It is roy. I'm allowed to look al shem soifai. I mean, that's the chiddush of Gomer b'di'adam. And that's already, a concept that Chazal gave. We're not trying to understand that. That's Chazal told us that Gomer b'di'adam, that's considered to be mutter. When something is gomer b'di'adam, it's considered, it has a shame roy. Should I prove this to you a minute? Everybody said the Prima Gadim in Sivkat and Chafei in our Simon in Shinhai. The Prima Gadim says an awesome chiddush, unbelievable chiddush, like a unbelievable chiddush. He says the cholent is not muktzah right now. It's not muktzah even right now. Now it's not Sanagaya because if you take it off, then you won't be able to put your bishul problems and whatever. But there could be cases, right? He says Gomer b'dei Adam says that when something is oimid to get cooked, and it has a shame right now. We look at a shame sci-fi that it's going to be right. Why is it a muksa machmas gufay? Because you're telling me it's not right. Gomer b'dei Adam says if it's going to get there, it is right. We don't look at it if we are mugbal eyes of right now with our limited scope of vision. We look at it that it's going to be right. It's going to be edible. So therefore, now already we say it's edible. Here's our mindset. It's muksa machmas eser. It's really the kasha, the fact that they only ask the kasha. It's mamash a pella that anybody asks this kasha in Mishabura. The other kasha is going to be what's the shaykhis? Muksa machmas eser. What's the reason of muksa machmas eser? Chazal said if you carry a wet beged, you're going to come to wring it out because you don't want the water inside the beged. So Chazal said you made a gzeira on the beged. Because Chazal don't want that the person should take this beged and be metal, because we know I'll have a gate Sahara, will come to squeeze it out. Now, there's a problem now with this beged. Chazal said, if you have this beged now, not that it's not a roy beged, and we don't care about it being roy or not. Chazal said, this beged is going to enable you to do an isser. Chazal afraid you're going to do an isser with this beged. So they made a gzeira, don't be metal this wet beged. So then what are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me in 5 hours from now it's going to be dry. In 15 hours from now it's going to be, who cares? Who cares? Chazal came along and said for sure, there's a gzeira right now, don't be metalta. If Chazal made a gzeira, don't be metalta. The problem with the beged is not that it's not roy. There's a problem right now that this beged has an isser on it. That's miku diskutzai. When it comes to a cholent, it's mamish lo shaykhis. Cholent, the shayla is it roy or not roy? I saw the Chanan speaks out the same type of a chilek. We're trying to dan, is it roy? So Mikadis Katzai says that if it was not roy at the beginning of Shabbos, it won't be roy the whole time. Gomer b'di'adam says, no, we look now and consider it to be roy because Al Shem Sefer it's going to be roy. And Ad Kidei Kach the Prima Gadim and Chazanish. It's not just the Prima Gadim. Chazanish says, La Lacha, it's not muktzah right now. That's right. The Chazanish says in Memphah, it's not muktzah right now because the roy of later makes it that it's not muktzah right now. As I said, the Chazanish and the Prima Gadim, Mashen came. What's a shaykhis? When it comes to a beged that is an isser, Chazal said, don't be metal to that beged. There's an isser to be metal to that beged. That for sure everyone agrees. For the first hour, it's for sure usher. There's no question in the world. And so now, once there was an isser as of when Shabbos came in, miku, this good say. It's good say, the kuli yaim, miku is good say, ben hashmach is good say, the kuli yaim. It's so pashit, the chiluk in the Mishabura. I'm in tam every achron has discussion in the Mishabura, and they say all types of chilukim. I'll tell you the chilukim, but it's the most pashit thing in the world, and it's halacha. That's his bar. No, I shouldn't say it's bar because it's a big cash on this. We'll see in a moment. There might be. I'm saying at least this part of the Mishabura is for sure hemes. The chiluk between migu, there's katsai that we do apply to muksa machmas sister and not to a muksa machmas gufa. We want to ask. Sorry, mask. This room, mask. Sorry. Yeah. No, Chazal didn't say the cholent parazasa. Chazal said nothing about the cholent. Your cholent is not roy. Why is it not roy? Because you can't eat it. On that we have a chiddush, Gomer b'dei Adam, that if it will be roy eventually during Shabbos, it's called roy right now. It's enough gemina, Rabbi Yisrael. It's roy now, even though you can't eat it. Is anyone going to come and say, by the case of muksa machmas iser, that the towel you're allowed to walk, the shirt, you're allowed to hold the shirt right now because eventually it's going to be dry. Of course not. That's exactly what Chazal said. Chazal said it's awesome right now to be metal to that beged because you're going to come to wring it out. So that, like the Ganta Shabbos. No, it's mamish. It's so pashit. It's a pella. I can't even masig what the kash is. And I saw great achreinen. Just a moment. One momento. Derech Agav, the Chazon Ish is in Mem Aleph. I said Mem Vav. I made a mistake. Mem Aleph. Siv Tez Zayin. No, it's just mamish pashit. I saw it, but great achreinem. I'm not talking like the greatest. Scheinberg's achreinem in the Shalmi Yehuda. He said such an unbelievable. It could be the chalukim they're making are nice chalukim. It could be there's a lumdus to them. They're wonderful chalukim. But why do we need to say it? I don't know. He says a chiluk. He says that it depends if it's the sun. It's sort of like you were saying, Rabbi Khan. It's a derech that mahalach that not mitzad man-made and not man-made. But he was saying it's more mitzad if you're totally in something else. If you're totally in something else, then it's not. We don't say gomer b'di'adam because it might not happen. The sun might not come out. Right? The sun might not. Just give me a moment. The sun might not come out. So then the kai govna. Then we say taka that's gomer. Then we're not going to say gomer b'di'adam like the case of the drying, right? Mashenkein. If we're talking about the dates over there, he's talking about that or whatever. There, the water was already in the date, and there it's just it's there. You pour it in the water. You're not totally in something else. You're just totally in this taking effect. And when you're just waiting for the action to take effect, then we say gomer b'di'adam. If mashenkin, you're totally in the sun coming out or not, even though it's 99% it's going to come out, but you're totally in something else. We don't say gomer b'di'adam. So, it's a chilik. Okay, I don't know. First of all, in the Mishabura, it's a pella. This guy went, he took this shirt, he hung it on a hanger in order to dry it out. Right? He's a normal human being, right? Somebody did it in a place, and more so, maybe he did it by the stove, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't say anywhere. What if he put, according to this, if he did it in a dryer, Scheinberg will tell you 100% it's not muktzah, right? You put it in a dryer and it's going to become dry. Or let's say in the summertime, right? Let's say, oh no, I remember this. Let's say in the summertime where for sure the sun is going to come out. I mean, it's all up to the Helik Hashefer, right? But the same Helik Hashefer could also take the water out of those dates, right? So I don't know. It's to me a big pella. I don't know. It's a big pella to say that Mishabur is sasim. Mishabur is saisim. Mamish saisim. Mishabur doesn't sound like this. Mishabur says v'gam mayri shenis yavish kshas. If it was wet, says the Mishabur aser the migu diskutzay leben hashmash. It's also the kuliya. Is it the batteries? You think? You don't know. Akapanim. I have other batteries if it's okay. Akapanim. And that's what he says. You're totally in something else. I don't. No. I'm just showing you all the great achreinim asked this kasha. The answer is mamish pashit. It's the most pashit teretz in the world. Avada we say migudis katzai on a muksa machmas iser. On a muksa machmas iser, of course we say migudis katzai because there was an iser right now at the beginning of Shabbos. Of course it's also the whole day. And what does it have to do with the concept of gomer b'di'adam, which we only found not by muksa machmas iser. We find it by gufay where something's not right. So we're saying that it has a shame of roy. It's even in the lumdis it makes sense. I don't know that tema. But the biggest people are Shlomo Zalman in the Mincha Shlomo on the 81st page. He says it depends if it's vaday going to dry or not. He says if it's vaday going to happen, so then we say gomer b'di'adam. Right? Gomer b'di'adam, 100%. Right? Machenkein by a shirt, it's not. The Mishabur is talking about a case that it's not vaday 100%. It's going to dry. What do they say where I come from? Except for death and taxes, they should change it except for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no vaday except for havadai shmoi. Saying kol maminim, havadai shmoi. The only thing that's vaday is the Helik Hashefer. But I don't know. I guess he means I don't know. But and to say that in the Mishabur is talking about a case where it wasn't vaday. It's a Tamer Rabba. Why? What? Where? When? How? Mishabur says not like I don't know. Mishabur says Gam Marish is Yavish. What? If he's causing trouble, I have the screwdriver. That'll scare him. You need it? You know? Yeah. You got it? Blumenthal. Go. It's okay. It's good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Shkech. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Not to say that in the Mishnah. I got to get the other batteries. You think it's bad? Batteries don't last long. Tough day at the office. Is there something there? You think it's that? Okay, good. Oh, now it works. Oh, you did something. Oh, very good. Okay. So I don't know. Let me get right. No, the Lefiza, what happens if you have this happens sometimes. A bacher has a shirt, anybody, everything's a bacher, right? Somebody has a shirt in the dryer on Erev Shabbos. He puts the shirt in there, it's like, well, you could follow the shirt's still wet. He just realized and he needs that shirt for tomorrow or something, whatever. So he puts the shirt into the dryer right before Shabbos. Now, what's in the Geya? What's in the Geya? How's he gonna, because it's gonna dry like 2 minutes after it's gonna dry. Right? How's it going to dry? How's it going to dry? Dry. Yeah. Now, but Maisa, what's the problem with a dryer on Shabbos? First of all, it's going to be going during Ben Hashmashis, right? So it's a problem of what? Avshamilsa. Avshamilsa says you're not allowed to have something making noise on Shabbos. Okay, but Ben Hashmashis, there's a heter maybe like of Shvus and Ben Hashmashis, and over here the guy says he doesn't have a shirt. He doesn't have a shirt. Why doesn't he have a shirt? What's the case? What's the case? What? No, but why he's wearing a shirt right now for whatever? No. What? So the answer is he's not. The answer is he's not. What about Mincha? What about Mincha? No, I'm just telling you, this is Maisa Shahayim. I kept asking the guy, how, what? How did it happen, Michal? So the Maisa was that it was right before Shabbos. He didn't have a Shabbos shirt. And all of the other shirts that he had, they have like these duckies and farm animals, pelicans and other crustaceans and things like that, right? So what's he going to do? He can't wear that on Shabbos. It's Chil Shabbos, right? Well, 1 second. So Chil Shabbos. So he had no choice. The only shirt he had was mamish. It was soaking wet. So he threw it into the dryer and he just waited there. How does he have a right to do that? Teretz, he doesn't have another shirt. So maybe Shvus and Ben Hashmashis, he's not turning it on Shabbos. It's just that it's Avshamilsa going. It's also, there's a Ramah that says Avshamilsa b'makim hefsid is a kula. No, maybe this is like an Avshamilsa b'makim hefsid. I'm just trying to get out of the shayla. But what's going to be the problem? How's he going to open up the door? So he told me his dryer is not a problem. There's no light. And once it goes off, right? There's such a thing. Yeah, but what's the problem? What's the problem? How's he going to open the door? How's he going to open the door? Hooray. During Ben Hashmashis, was he allowed to open the door? Was he allowed to open the door during Ben Hashmashis? No, it was going. Oh, Elamai, maybe Gomer B'Del, but we don't say Gomer B'Del by Muksim Machmas, right? That's what we just heard over here. What? Sure it is. To go and press that machine right now. You mean the machine's only I'm not convinced. Right now, to press the machine, during Ben Hashmashis, was he allowed to open the door? What's the answer? Well, yeah, but the only thing is, here it wasn't the whole Ben Hashmashis. What? I'm not convinced. How do you know? But I'm not convinced. You're right, they weren't geyser, so it's not the example that we have. But maybe Chazal said, are you allowed right now to open this door during Ben Hashmashis? No way. So then who says that Issa doesn't blind the whole entire Shabbos? Should I tell you when I thought of this, Shaila? This Friday night, someone came to my door. They left on the fridge light by mistake. The Shabbos mode. They forgot to turn on the Shabbos mode on the fridge. So they came to me and they asked me what they could do. I told them we can get a guy. Once they left the house, I started thinking to myself, what's that for them to get a guy? They came to me after davening. It was ready after Meir, it was ready after Ben Hashmashis. Right? So now, the guy is going to come, the guy's going to turn on the Shabbos mode. Great. Okay, which we'll be makel on because electricity, Rabbanan, or whatever, all the Cheshbonis we spoke about that. Now, throughout the entire Ben Hashmashis, were they allowed to open the door of the fridge? 100% not. 100% not. Are they allowed to open it? No way. Now, why don't we say that door, migudis katsoy, that you're not allowed to move this? Are you allowed to move this door, Ben Hashmashis? Allowed not. So why don't we say it's katsoy the kuliyonimo? What? No, that's a shayla with buses. There's nothing to do with this. No, nothing to do with buses. Stop. Were they allowed to open this door? 100% not. For the entire Ben Hashmashis, they can't open this door. What? Move what? The fridge? I don't even know. Why? They exactly can't open the door. The only thing they're doing is the door, right? And the door they can't move. This part of the kli, they for sure can't move. So who says it's not us the whole day? Forget Chesaron Kez. Why Chesaron Kez? Oh, you mean the fridge itself? I mean the whole fridge. Let's say the fridge. So since I can move the whole entire fridge, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. No, no. Again, the concept over here is that if something was muksa, I wasn't allowed to move her ben hashmashes, right? There's an isser or whatever. Who cares why? There's an isser. There's an isser gomer, right? Yizicha can't open the fridge. I can't move the door. So I think I'm wrong. Why? Because all the achronim discuss if you can get somebody to open it, they're goy and whatever. Nobody ever chapped this before Kallus, right? What? No. I'm talking about a case of where the fridge was with the whole ben hashmashes. It was a problem. No. The achronim are talking every case. Where Moshe talks about all the achronim talk about this. Are you allowed to get a goy? Or Moshe has a tshuva. You can get a goy. Others have tshuvas that you can't get goy. Whatever. But what? No. Nothing to do with ben hashmashes. The achronim all discuss this case. Could you get a goy? We're makel to get a goy to open up the door because of secretion or whatever, right? And then we can tell the guy where Moshe says to take out the light. I think where Moshe was in Samaches that you can tell the guy to take out the light. Whatever, but we're makel to get a guy to open the fridge, we're makel to get the guy to turn off the light, and in our case, we're makel to get the guy to turn on the Shabbos mode and whatever. We're makel like that. And nobody ever says, yeah, by the way, it doesn't help anything because the rest of Shabbos, you can't open or close the fridge. I'm just asking you a kasha. Why isn't it migu diskatzai? What? Why is that moksa? Okay, so now you have all fallen into my trap. Yeah, now you've all fallen into my trap. Okay, now you're all in trouble. Okay, everybody ready? Rabbi Sher is in trouble. The other Rabbi Sher, don't worry. All right, you're in trouble in this end, and Abi, you're in trouble. All in trouble. Okay, listen to what they say. It's not muksa. You have an isser. You're not allowed to open it. Who says when there's an isser, it's like the whole entire Shabbos, right? Okay, wait, slow. Now you're in trouble. Now you're in trouble. Now that's it. Now it's my turn. Now you're all in trouble. Wait, so let's go back to our friend. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten you. I just want to finish the sentence though. But you're all in trouble. No one should think you're out of trouble. It might take me 1 minute to get, you're in trouble. Right? It might take me a minute to get there. But you're in trouble. Right? And you have based in Agadol over here. You're all in trouble. Watch. So, watch. It was scary sounding that. So like this. Watch. No, this is very scary. You're in big trouble. Watch. So let's say, I don't know, he had his shirt. He threw it in the dryer on Erev Shabbos. Because he needed a shirt, his only shirt. And let's say it didn't go throughout the whole Ben Hashmash, it was only 5 minutes. So therefore there's no migu diskatzai on the dryer, or maybe what you guys are saying, we'll see in a moment. But there's no migu diskatzai. Then how's he going to open up the door of the dryer? So I told you, it's a klisha machtaliyas of the dryer. It doesn't have a light or anything. So it's why are you allowed to open the door? Tzarech what? Tzarech the makim, it's blocking my entrance in. And then I could take out the shirt. Whoa, the shirt was wet. Why don't we say migu diskatzai? So if the Mishnah Berurah, we probably do. If the Mishnah Berurah, we probably say the shirt was wet. Oh, the shirt wasn't wet the whole Ben Hashmash, so it doesn't start the whole shadow, right? Yeah, okay. So it doesn't start. The shirt wasn't wet the whole Ben. But let's say you'd have a case of where the dryer went the whole Ben Hashmash. Okay, so the Mishnah Berurah will tell you it's migu diskatzai. Rav Scheinberg will tell you that it's mutter probably, right? Because Rav Scheinberg will tell you that, over here it's vaday happening. It's a dryer. It's a vaday happening, right? Rav Zman will tell you why. What's Rav Zman? No? Why? Okay. Rav Zman is the vaday? Which one? No, sorry. Rav Zman is vaday, and Rav Scheinberg was saying you're not totally in something else. So if you have clothing in a dryer and it's vaday going to occur, it'll be mutter to use it. It'll be mutter to use it. Who paskins like that? Rav Moshe. Moshe in Heichav Beis Chavav, he says if it will vaday dry, it's mutter. He says, he doesn't go on the Mishnah Berurah. It's those questions Rabbi Badner asked of Moshe. And he doesn't go on the Mishnah Berurah mamish, right? He goes and he says that, he goes with the Mahalach, that with this vaday Mahalach or not. I don't know if he's coming to argue in the Mishnah Berurah or not. Could be he's arguing on the Mishnah Berurah. It could be saying the Mishnah Berurah is talking where it wasn't vaday. But Moshe goes, if it's vaday, you say Gomer B'dei Adam. That's where Moshe. If it's vaday going to happen, you put it into a place where the vaday dry. You say Gamer b'dei Adam. Then Moshe says, unbelievable chiddush. He says, by the way, you don't say Gamer b'dei Adam unless you planned on using that shirt. Interesting. You took a shirt, you dried it in a place where it's vaday going to dry. You took a shirt, you dried it in a place where it's vaday going to dry. Moshe says, let's say you didn't plan on using that shirt. What would be a case, Tom? You realized on Shabbos morning you need another shirt, right? And you had to hang out a shirt to dry, but you didn't plan on using it. Moshe says you can't use it. We don't say Gamru b'dei Adam on something that you didn't plan on using. It has to be, Gamru b'dei Adam. You planned on using it. Awesome chiddush. We'll learn the sugya. We'll see. It's b'chlan ha'pashat. What? No. You're hanging it out to dry. You weren't hanging out to use. is unbelievable chiddush. I don't know that. We'll learn Gamma B'Yana. I'm only mentioning it is because it's in this tshuva. He says this idea. Sorry? What? No. You planned on most people use the same shirt on Shabbos. They don't, what, you change Friday night and Shabbos and then for Shal Shidduch. What's it? Shabbos Chazoin? What's it? What?
Not here.
What?
Not here.
These guys, they go to the tish, they schwitz l'maaseh. Could be it's a little bit different. Bekish, no, the Bekish and Tzachon, right? No, that's true. It's a different thing. No. It gets very hot in that Bekish. What? No, Mamish gets hot in the Bekish. You know what I'm talking about. So, okay. Back upon him. But like this. There's another kasha here on the Mishnah Berurah. Das is a kasha. This kasha, if whoever has the answer to this question, he's a goyim. I write him a letter, he's a goyim. And then you'll show your wife, look, Rabbi Kallus said I'm a goyim. Right? She's going to give you such a big dinner. Like a big dinner. You're going to be a big goyim. It's mamish. No, mamish. It's the Shevet HaLevi asked the kasha. He asked it the strongest. Shevet HaLevi. You could ask it, everybody could ask the kasha on their own. In Gimel, Rabbi said, is a wet beged, is it muksa? Is it muksa? Do you guys beginning to see why you might be in trouble? Is a wet beged muksa? I've tricked you the whole time. I keep telling you, a wet beged is muksa, and Miku just got soy ben hashmash. It's the whole day she's muksa. Slow. Is it muksa? Slow. You're not, it says in the Gemara, you're not allowed to be metaltal wet beged. The Shulchan Aruch brings lalacha. You're not allowed to carry around the wet beged. You're not allowed to carry around the wet beged. You know why? Because you're going to go and wring it out if we let you carry it. Okay. Is it muksa? What do I mean is it muksa? I'll prove to you it's not muksa. Meaning, first of all, it's not an our siman, which, okay, that's not a raya, but I'll prove to you it's not muksa. There's an isser not to carry. It's a separate isser. They could have made an isser, don't look at wet begodim. They could have made an isser, don't own wet begodim, right? They made an isser, don't carry wet begodim. So you automatically assume that it's muksa, right? We know the only don't allow to carry halachas in Shas are muksa, right? It's not true. I'll show you it's not muksa. Bring me right, it's not muksa. No, let's go. What? It's not such a what? Rabbi said, what happens if it rains on the tablecloth? What do we say? What do we say? 2 people. What's 2 people? 2 people. When you have 2 people, you can carry around eggshells. Wait, slow. When you have 2 people, then it shows you it's not muksa, obviously. It shows you it's xeris tiltal. Obviously, it doesn't have a shem of aksa. How could something have a shem of aksa if there's a way on Shabbos that I can move it around? No, that's zichernist. I mean, listen to the kasha first. That's zichernist. Be careful, you're getting into bigger trouble, okay? There comes a point where you can't get out. 1 minute. You have over here a wet beged. I'm going to prove to you beyond the shadow of a doubt that she's not muksa. Number 1 is, in Bishlama, you have what? You have eggshells. We're going to say 2 people can carry it. Of course not. Here, Chazal made a gzera. Don't carry. When you come along with somebody else, you're allowed to carry it. That shows you it's not a haksa. It's a gzera. It shows you it's not a haksa. Haksa means that it's muksa. It's out. I'll give you another example, right? We saw, this we didn't see, but there's a Mogen Avram in Shin Hei. Mogen Avram in Shin Hei is talking about a halacha known as bittul kli meichana. Bittul kli meichana means that's something in Hashem we're going to learn. It's like, it's somewhat related to muksa. Bittul kli meichana means you're not allowed to do something to a kli that makes it that you can't move that kli. Okay, a good example of this is you can't put candle, what? Sorry? That's the hard example. The examples of the Gemara, bittul kli meichana, you're not allowed to put, let's say, the Gemara talks about a pillow, and you want to put a pillow near your dog, so that the dog should go and sit on the pillow it's talking about a case where the dog fell into the water or something. So you want to put the pillow there and the dog is going to climb onto the pillow. Now what's going to happen if the dog climbs onto the pillow? Then he'll be safe. So Gemara discusses you have a big problem with bittul kli meichana. Why? Because the dog is going to go onto the pillow, he's going to sit there, and now that you're not going to be able to move that pillow. That's a sugya, Hashem, we'll learn about it, whatever. It's called bittul kli meichana. You're making it that you can't move this item. Bittul kli meichana. It's a whole shaila in the Paiskim. Is it a din because you were boining that kli? You made that kli that you can't move it. So like Kivyachal, you were mechaber it to the ground. You connected it to the ground. Rashi has it said the other way. Maybe it's called you broke that kli. Till now I was able to move around the pillow. Now I can't move around the pillow anymore. So it's a broken pillow. Things like that. But that's the isser called bittul kli meichana. Okay? Listen to a Mogen Avram. The Mogen Avram is talking about, he talks about taking a wet beged, he wants to put it in, it's a little bit complicated, the case. That's why I'm trying to avoid saying the case. You're going to have to just take my word for it in the conceptual. He's talking about an animal that's stuck in water and whatever. So he says, wait a minute, maybe he's talking about a case, can I throw in bigodim into the water, like types of shmatas and zachan, so that the animal will be able to walk onto those shmatas and whatever, and he's not going to stay on it, so we don't have a problem. So the Magen Avram says, it's no problem. He says, so what do you mean it's no problem? But what about the Shevet Levi? It's Shema Yischait. Once he goes on, once you put the beged into the water, we have a bigger problem. Now that beged is going to become muksa. Now that beged will be muksa the whole Shabbos. You're not going to be allowed to be metaltal because the beged is going to be going into the water. And once you put a beged into the water, the beged becomes muksa. So the Magen Avram says, no, it's not muksa. The Shevet Levi says, it's not muksa. It's not muksa. There's an isser that when you take a beged and put it into the water, you're not allowed to be metaltal. But it's not muksa. Why is it not muksa? All right, you could be metaltal. You can metaltal. As long as somebody else is there, you could be metaltal. So you see, it doesn't have a shem muksa. If it would have a shem muksa, it would be called bittul kli mechanai. It's a bit of a murchav dikaraya, but conceptually everybody should understand. If I take a beged and I put it in water, so then why shouldn't that be called bittul kli? For example, they all talk about that you take a glass and you start taking your seeds and you're throwing them one by one, the seed shells, one by one. So they say it's bittul kli mechana. You just made it that you can't move the glass. All the place can discuss this. In Mitzvah Shem, we're going to learn the sugya. You're not allowed to move that glass. So you're not allowed to do that because you're not allowed to do something which makes it that you can't move that glass. That's called boina. That's bittul kli mechana. It's seiser. You broke the kli, whatever. But that's because you put here muksa. You made it that you can't move it. Mashenkin, can I take a beged and throw it in the water? The halacha is 100% yes, as long as you don't have the gzeiras and come to wring it out. So over there it was allowed because you're doing it for an animal, if it's Abel Chaim, whatever it was. But for the Shevet Levi, how are you putting a beged into the water? Now you're not allowed to move the beged. You made muksa. You made bittul kli mechanai. So he says, no, it's not bittul kli mechanai. Why? Because it's not muksa. When you take a beged and put it into water, are you allowed to move the beged? Yeah. Under certain circumstances, yeah. You have to get two people to move it. If you would have no other begadim, you'd be allowed to move it. So you see, it's not an absolute muksa. So what is it? There's an isser. So Fek the Shevet Levi, Mishnah Berurah missed the whole boat. Fek the Shevet Levi missed the boat. The boat left without the Mishnah Berurah. As I Fek the Shevet Levi. Shevet Levi is in Gimel Lamed Gimel. He says, how could you say it's muksa? That's what he says. And Mamela, once it's not muksa, you can't say migudis katzai. Migudis katzai only applies to a muksa. That's what he says over there. That's what he says. And he could have maybe answered, maybe the only heter of a shomer is like, maybe you could have said Tirutzin, like maybe the only time there's a heter of a shomer is when you do it, when it happened by accident, the beggar got wet. Just 1 second. When the beggar got wet, maybe that's when you have a shomer. But let's say you did it on purpose. You got it wet. So maybe there's no shomer. You like the chiluk? It's a weird chiluk. If one of you would say it, I'd probably start saying you're a weird person. It's a weird thing. Why would you say a weird thing like that, right? I don't know. Chazal said, if the beged is wet, don't carry her. They said, if you have two people there, so then you're allowed to carry her because you're not going to come to wring it out. Chazal said, if the beged is wet, don't carry her. Chazal said, if there's no other choice, you're allowed to wear her, you're allowed to carry her. So then, is she muksa? Says the Shevet Levi, she's not muksa. She's an isser that you're not allowed to carry around the wet beged, but she's not muksa, and therefore it doesn't make bittul kli mechanai. No, that's what he says. So Meli says the Mishnah Berurah is sarech iyin gadol. And he says, and therefore, if the shirt dries on Shabbos, she's not muksa. That's it. He argues on the Chafetz Chaim, and the boat left without the Helik of Chafetz Chaim. What's the answer? Right? Well, so now we know one thing. The Shevet Levi is right. Shevet is right. I was thinking a whole mahalach. I was thinking the Mishnah Berurah never brought that halacha about two people. Remember I told you the Mishnah Berurah doesn't bring that halacha. I found it very weird. The Magen Avram brings that halacha. It's a Gemara. He can't argue on it, I said, but Taki doesn't bring it. So I don't know. Like that. Maybe there's some fishy territory over here. But the boat is leaving without the Mishnah Berurah. So what's the answer? When the boat starts leaving, the Mishnah Berurah is not on the boat. So what's the answer? He's on the boat. He's on the boat. And the rest of us are on the shore. Right? So what's the answer? The answer is, Suffice Tois a Murdik Chiddush from the Mishnah Berurah. You know now why the Beis Din's in trouble. Now you know why? I don't know. Maybe you see from here a Chiddush in the Mishnah Berurah that Mishnah Berurah doesn't need something, to say Migutis Ketzayah was enough for the Mishnah Berurah, that if that thing, even if it's not Muksa, if that thing was Usr, as of when Shabbos came in, during Ben Hashmashis, he was Isser, it's a Chiddush Gadol, I'm not Chazugnish. But one sec. But if something was Usr, as of when Shabbos came in, right? But the problem is here, wait a minute, it's not even Usr. Right? It's not even Asr, because even as when Shabbos came in, you could have gotten somebody else, right? It was never Asr, right? So what are you gonna do? You can't even say that what I'm trying to say, right? Because as of when Shabbos came in, and were you allowed to move this item when Shabbos came in? Yes. How? 2 people. So what's muksa about? Right? So what's the answer? Tzarchi gadol. I don't know. See, you all got scared, right? Not mixing machas either. What mixing machas to me is? Who's mentioning it? Esther. Yeah. I understand. I want to understand. It's my desire to understand. Yeah. And therefore what? How did you take away the siba? Don't go back to that case. Let's talk about this case. The case of the water. We're back to this case. The case of the beged. Yeah. I'm sorry? Why did it go out? I understand.
Why is it because it's exaggerated? That's what it is.
So what? The exaggerated abundance is all, it could be us at all Shabbos. Right. But you see, Claire, that you could move it around.
So it's a way to get out of it. The whole reason why there's a surround was exaggerated.
But what, so is there haksa? Haksa means I could not move it on Erev Shabbos. You understand what the Mishabur is doing here is an unbelievable thing. One second, you understand the Mishabur is doing an unbelievable thing. He's saying that the haksa of whatever was usher is going to remain the whole Shabbos. Like if I want to walk around, somebody will stand next to me and watch me as I wear my shirt the whole Shabbos. I don't see how anyone could ask that, right? But the Mishabur is learning that there was haksa klape, not moving it around by yourself. It's an awesome chiddush. It's mamish an awesome chiddush. I don't know. I was wondering on Shabbos when I was thinking about this question. I thought I had a mahalach, and then I realized I didn't. I was wondering on Shabbos, is it possible that there could be a mishabura which is takar tzarchi and gadol, and that there's no answer? No. Could it be? Could it be that there's a mishabura that there's no answer to it? And that's why I started thinking that other thing. The mishabura for some reason doesn't bring down that halacha of carrying al yidei 2 people, which bothers me. Why is the mishabura? I wonder if the mishabura has something up his tzaddik clothing, right? His sleeve, right? I wonder if the Mishabura has something up his sleeve that he doesn't hold of the heter of carrying with 2 people. He never brings it in Sefer Mishabura. I know it's a Gemara and a Taisus. I don't know. Maybe he learns it's like a Machlekes Asugis or something, or I don't know what. Maybe he has a raya not like this. What? Ein beged acher doesn't bother me as much because in this case, it's a case that it is a beged acher, right? Oh, actually, in our case, my case without the shirt was the main beged acher card. But shame. I don't know. I'm a little bit navai. Yeah. Sorry? No, that's not a kasha. He's asking, every muksa I can kick it, I can move it with my leg, my toes, my ears, my tail, whatever. Right? But that's not a kasha because that's called moving it with that oifen is called you're not moving it. That's whatever the heter is. Yeah. No. Here's totally different. Here I could move it. I can move it with 2 people. I can move it. Somebody will watch me. I can move it normally. No. That's called the Maisa tilt. No. Okay, you know, Rabbi said, Mitzvah. I see you're bothered now. I'm also bothered. Right now, I don't have an answer. You should know, I davened by the nearest, by Zeitz Chanukah. I thought for sure I'd get an answer. Now I told you guys how big Zeitz Chanukah was and whatever. I don't know. It's not a chesaron in Zeitz Chanukah. It's not a chesaron in my tefillah. Somebody here, I think that's shared. I just don't have a teretz. I don't know. It's a tzarchi and gadol. I don't know. Yeah, Mr. Shem, we'll learn. Come over the other. We'll learn because it's kasai. We'll come back. But these are all questions. The Maisa, it's a tzarchi and gadol. Halacha l'maisa in the meantime, is not clear. Not so clear to me. What's I don't know, Rabbi Sher. What's halacha l'maisa? Other Rabbi Sher. Remember you asked me, I think, no? On Erev Shabbos you wanted to know. Right? He was the one with the shirt. I didn't want to say who it was, but I have no choice. Right? What l'maisa? What did I tell you? I told you it's better not. The Mishabura sounds like it's not allowed. Ramosha said it's mutter. If someone told me I have no choice, it's makim to be makel for sure, because Ramosha is makel, and the Achronim say if it's going to dry, it's makel, and Shamzamin, Scheinberg, they all say these terutzim that, and the Mishabura takesh tikul tzarchian. or maybe they're terutzim work in the Mishnah. I don't know, but al kaponim, it's better not to. If you do it, so then Malkim Mekel. Let's go weiter. Let me go weiter. I'll talk after. I didn't realize how late it was already. Now, basically, two more things in this, and then we'll go weiter to the next seat. One thing is a bathing suit, a wet bathing suit. What's the din of a wet bathing suit on Shabbos? We kept talking about wet clothes, wet rags. We say you're not makbid on, because there you don't care that the rag should be wet, right? Because it's something that it's meant to hold water, so we're not afraid you're going to lose yourself and extract the water. A shirt, we say you are okay. A sponge, we said they didn't make a gzeira on a sponge. That's what we said. What about a bathing suit? A bathing suit is something that you definitely don't care that it should be wet. It's meant to be wet. I'm asking, it's a normal thing to extract the water out of the bathing suit, but it's also a normal thing to do it out of a sponge, and we didn't make a gzeira on a sponge. The word is, they only made it on something that you're makbid not to have the water. A bathing suit would be a very interesting example. I just wonder if there's like a loy plug on Begodim or something, but probably not. It's probably not. We don't find. Just a moment. It's probably not a loy plug. So Memela, Pashtus is that a bathing suit is a good example of something. It's a gavaldic example of something that you'll have soaking wet on Erev Shabbos. And why would you need the bathing suit? It's getting all over the place or something, or whatever, you want to move it or something. So if you this, it'll come out that a bathing suit will be, it certainly don't have this din of amigdus katzoy, for sure. I'm saying, but even more, it could be you'll be allowed to move around the bathing suit on Shabbos. You'll be allowed to move a wet bathing suit on Shabbos. What's that?
I want to wash my clothing. I want it to get wet also.
Sorry?
I want my clothing to get wet also. I want to wash it.
I'm talking about a bathing suit that. No. That was the gzeira. Chazal said that a person doesn't want water in his shirt, I guess because he's makbid, it shouldn't sit in it or whatever. What? Sorry? Rabbi Zinger, on a map, is there a gzeira on the map? No. What's the chilek? What? I don't want to use a map when it's wet, right? I want to wring it out. That's why they have that thing on the map thing, right? To wring it out. It's not true. I'm not that bathing suit is not this level of muksa. Obviously, you can't bring it out on Shabbos. That's chas v'chlila, right? But about it, the chayrit doesn't have the gzeres. It's an interesting case. That's number one. Number two is that Stamet. The item was asking me the other day about. I mentioned here. It's ironic, right? A sponge is going to be a klish makaliyah, sir. You'll be allowed to move it just to our goof makayim. Somebody's asking about the carpet, the wet carpet. It sounds like from the Paiskin that you're allowed to walk on a wet carpet because there's no benefit in Maila in that. Water that comes out, it goes right back in. It's shmutzig thick. It's gracious leinicha. There's lots of svaras here. That's in the etzim haschita mamish. That's something else. That's when you're actually walking on the carpet and making the carpet, extract the water. But that's a different shmuz. That we are making socks and the carpets and all those things. I was thinking of Shai the other day on Shabbos. There was a staple. I had nothing to do with anything we're talking about. I just remembered it right now. There was a staple. You know how the staples, they all come attached, and then you put it into the stapler, right? So I was thinking that's taka muksa machmas gufa l'chayra. Because right now, even if you say a staple by itself is a klish makli yeser, because it's just there to be mechaber the two parts. But the staple, when it's still connected and hasn't been broken apart yet, that l'chayra is an unfinished product. L'chayra it's a muksa machmas gufa. What? L'chayra. Yeah. Hey, God, it was Neyeh Mamish the other day. There was on my table. There was a bunch of staples that were all. It was in the box. It was in that box, that box that holds all those days. I'm thinking it's a good example of a muksa machmas kufay, which is not a klish machmas yeser. Sorry? What's nafkin mean? I'm not sure if it makes nafkin. Not sure if I'm not sure. Even if you're right, still not sure. This matzav right now, it's totally not usable until next shlav. I'm not sure. Okay, let's start. Sif Yud Zayin. New Sif. Now, Yud Zayin, Yud Ches, Yud Tes. Most of what we'll talk about will be in the shir. I told you the oilam should go now to Chavav is really more the sugyas of Yichud. I told you there's a lot of literature here in Yichud. I'll try to make it practical. But let's, Mitzvah Hashem, there are a lot of things here I saw. At first I thought I would just skip it, and I see there's really a lot of Zachan over here. And one of them was Mamish Negayat. That's why I saw it as a statement from Shemayim to learn it properly. The Shulchan Aruch in Yud Zayin says like this, Levanim, bricks, bricks that are left over from a building construction project are mutter l'taltalam. You hear this, Maisa? Bricks and tiles and all these things. You're allowed to carry them around. What? This is like the biggest muksa machmas gufa in the world. It's a brick, right? It's only meant to be built into a, right? And what's this going on? And it's only if what? If it's at the end of the building project. So it sounds like a brick is a muksa machmas gufa, maybe even a chasar and kiss, because you're careful with it before it goes into the building. But once you already finish the building project, the leftover bricks are muksa, are not muksa. You hear this, Maisa? What's this all about? Because who's now they're no longer, you know how it is, you have these bricks left over. Is anybody building them into the project anymore? I don't know. So what are they there for? To sit on. To sit on. It's come to gain the Torah Shabbos. He was from, I think he was Hungarian, from 100 years ago. And he says, today, he says, in the Eastern countries, they sit on the bricks afterward. So I felt like it was our responsibility. He tells us in the Eastern countries, he's talking about us, right? Now it's Israel, it's an Eastern country, Klape, in Poland and in Hungary, it was considered like the Artsas Mizrach over there, over there. So he means like by us, there's still people that sit on it. But he's saying by us over here in Hungary, there's no such thing. So by us, they're muksa. That's what he says. And the Aruch HaShulchan, he writes in Sivkot Mechas, today they're all muksa. Nobody sits in Nevardik. Nobody sits on these things. So Mela, they're all muksa. The whole sugi over here is a comment that people would sit on them. So then you say that right after you finish building. So what are they oimid for? They're oimid for a davar shalat. They're Zman that you're building. They're oimid to be built into the building. But once the building is done, so what are they oimid for? They're oimid to sit on. They're oimid, well, in the time of Chazal or whatever, they were oimid to sit on. But today they're not oimid to sit on, so they applied muksa. Vim sidrin zel zeh. Goli daite the hixel. But machenket, if you piled them nicely, you show that you still want to build with them. Okay, but it's not negayas, this whole thing, right? Is anybody here that's it's not negaya? It's also the talplim. So all the things that the Acharonim talk about, Mishabur over here and Ayin Gimel discusses. Do you need to have machshava for it? He's going back then in their times, right? Do you need to have a machshava, or do you not need a machshava? He discusses. Do you need that the person should think, yeah, I want to use that brick to sit on, or is it enough? No, you don't need to think I want to sit on that brick. It's stam oimid for sitting on. So, but what are you going to say? What's in a gay? It's not a gay, right? And then I was looking around the neighborhood, right? And I noticed that Lamaisa in the Artis Mizrach, I don't know if there's such. I looked around the neighborhood. First of all, every single house outside my block has bricks that are in usage now. Who knows what they're being used for? What? No, not just door. Now, this week. Menorahs, right? Now, so you think, okay, but menorahs is to hold the nisser. So first of all, it's to hold the nisser, which means it's a klisha malachta l'yesser. It's no longer going to be muksa machmas gufa. Number one. Number two is it's a simin l'davar habayisai. It means the bricks are around and people just use after. I was noticing, they have all these bricks that are left over from the area and from this. By us, they tiled the floors with bricks on the Chav Mutzafi over there. They're all tiled with bricks. So I saw there's like tons of bricks over there. And you see, in the houses, everybody has these bricks. And you see, they use them. When it'll be menorah, they'll use it for menorah. When it'll be whatever, they're going to use it for everything, right? So it's at least, I guess at worst, it should be a klisha malachta l'yesser because people use them. It's not like, you're right, we don't use them to sit on them. I don't know how many people sit on them, right? So when I came into my house, I asked my kids, we have all these bricks also, right? And Grata, in front of my house, they were used also for the menorah, right? You came with Thursday night, you saw where the menorah is playing. You saw the menorah? No. You saw the bricks over there. It was all right there. We used them also. Everybody uses them. So I asked my kids, what do we do with them the rest of the time? So my kids showed me they have like a whole racetrack that they make, right? And so are they going to be allowed to do that on Shabbos? What? I have to see about their yichud, if the yichud's considered a yichud. But I'm saying just on day one, when these bricks came, from day one. Now it could be anyways, they're aimed for whatever. You see in our neighborhoods, I don't know what it is, maybe in America it's not like this, but in Eretz Yisrael, the bricks that are left over are used for everything, and people use them for everything. People mamish use them, right? So then this halacha is chai v'kayim. Leveinim shenishu me'abinyan mutal l'talton deme'ata l'kayim l'binyan ella for everything. I just don't know if they're klisha malachta yeser. You have to find out what's the right usages of these. I think it's a klisha malachta yeser, the heter. It's whatever comes your way that you need to use it for, you're going to use it. It could just be that most usages that you're going to wind up having might be taka eser, but that's by default. I mean, my example is a great example. Everyone's going to use it for your little racetrack that you make in the back with the bimbos. You know those things, the little, everyone knows what I'm talking about? These like bimbos that the kids drive on. You guys know what I'm talking about or not? Because I don't know if it's an Israeli thing or what? What's it called? The bimbajuk, yeah. The little, no, that's the very little one. But that's for the little children. I mean, like the bigger kids, like the 16-year-olds, they have like, so they use them for everything. They use these things for everything, right? My wife told me she uses it when making barbecue in the back. She takes like a grill and puts it on there and just puts it on the bricks. That's it. That's the barbecue. right? Salamai, you'll say, so that's it's a kli shemachal yisr, right? It's a kli shemachal yisr. You're using it to enable an yisr. Fine. Sorry? Mine or? Yeah, then we'll have to see what the rive is. I hear I'm asking. Here, I'll be that. And then you go back to the Mishnah Berurah, and the Mishnah Berurah says, he says, V'yesh machmirim, umutal talta afil mechan l'tzel, where's Mishnah Berurah? Roi v'oim etaris kli, umutal talta afil mechan l'tzel, mashma de ein tzarech machshava. Mishnah Berurah says, the first sheet he says, you don't even need machshava. V'yesh machmirim b'zeh. Stop, it bothered me. How come Mishnah Berurah doesn't say in Radin Shtetl today? It's not, who lived at the same time at the Mishnah Berurah? The Aruch HaShulchan, the Torah Shabbos, they lived somewhat in the same time. So how come Mishnah Berurah, the whole halacha is not negayed today? Sounds like the Mishnah Berurah, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I wonder what was going on in the Vardik. Akapanim in Eretz Yisrael, Ladaiti, it's definitely not a Muksa. No, this is, I think, the biggest chiddush that I said so far in Muksa. I think so. Every single sefer in Hilchos Muksa writes that bricks are Muksa, Bain before the binyan, Bain after the binyan, and Sagar Ali Nesidach. I didn't find one sefer that says this. Right? But I don't say it's not in the world that it's muksa. At least in Eretz Yisrael, in the mitzvahs that I just described. Again, it might be a kli shemachal. Yes, no, it's a tremendous nafkamina, Rabbi Yisai. You have a brick over there, and you want to move it. These things get in the way, and it's dangerous. You're afraid someone's going to trip. If it's a muktzah magmas gufa, you can't move it out tzarech gufa mekayma. At least to see what I'm saying, you can move it tzarech mekayma, and the kids will be able to go and make their little racetrack because it's tzarech gufa. Ulai, it's even more than that. And we'll see. Maybe there's a yichud, so that it's even better. I'm saying, but on the first Shabbos, after they build, it's mamish together. The first Shabbos, all the time they're building over here in Yerushalayim today, right? Everywhere you go, and they have they build a lot of the sidewalks with these bricks. Those are the things specifically I'm talking about. I don't know about tiles if this is so true. Tiles is usually not like that. Tiles, I don't think anybody uses bricks though, or mamish. What do you do with them? Yeah, but that's not common. They're not commonly around. He found a thing of tiles and he put them there. It could be. Then now he's miyachid for it. I don't know. But I'm saying, but the bricks of mamish everywhere. You see them. That was the biggest rise when I walked down the street. So every single person has a menorah, and I realized these people are using them. Right. So then, what's going to be on the first week? That's what afterwards, it's probably a miyuchid anyways. But on the first week, they leave over these bricks. Your first reaction, because you're going to look in any sefer and it's going to say they're muksa, right? I remember the reason. Right when I moved into Ramat Shlomo, right in the beginning, so they had not yet tiled the road. They hadn't yet tiled the road. A few weeks later, they tiled it. It was just a paved road. And a few weeks later, they were working on the road for like mamish months. And I remember on the week before they left, the last time they left, so there was like, they just took all the bricks, right? And they basically just like dumped them right in front of my house. That's why I think we have so many there. Right? Just like dumped them right in front of the house, mamish, and nobody realized it. It was like Erev Shabbos, and they were right there, all in front of the house. Erev Shabbos, right? So I told my kids, just move it to the side, kick it to the side. But it was a big ASIC kicking it to the side. It's a big ASIC. You have to kick every one of them to the side. Now that I think about it, my friend will see maybe muksa and a makam of hezek. I don't know if that's real hezek. People see it. It wasn't the biggest hezek. You can kick this. But now I think to myself, I made a mistake. It's oimid for binyan. It's oimid for usage. Excuse me. It's not oimid for binyan. Those bricks were left over, and people took them. Everybody takes them. Everybody uses them. It's allowed. Let me find the people that are going to go and use them for door stoppers. I'm talking about before they use it for a door stopper. You come to my road, everybody has one of them by a door stopper. That means you see they're oimid for this. And the Mishnah Berurah tzad, even without machshava. The Mishnah Berurah tzad. The guy's finding a makom to be makel. Anyway, what happened over here today? Anyway, all right, let's start the shir. What happened? We started late. Rabbi said, Mincha started, what's with the tender? They came on time today? Tender was good? There was everybody else was bad today, right? Mincha started, the microphone? The Mincha starts at 3:33. Let's go over the rules in the code. Mincha starts at 3:33, right? 3:34. The shir starts 3:49, and shir ends at 4:49, right? Never go over time. 4:49, the shir ends, right? And, what? Balti was very slow today. That is true. That was a shtickle issue. All right. So, I see if you guys, we have to, I don't even know what to do here. See, at least take a look during the Seder. No, we didn't do anything. All right, take a look during the Seder at least at Sif Yud Ches. See if you, I don't know if there's going to be proper marmakaymis on it because we plan on going straight to Chaf. But just take a look quickly at Yud Ches and Yud Tes. Yud Tes less, but Yud Ches is an Indian of Hezek. Are you allowed to move muksa b'makim Hezek? That we'll have to talk about. Now, I'll give you one shayla to think about. There was a menorah this Shabbos that was there with all the glass. Somebody brought it down and didn't put it away, right? Maybe it was me. Right? And they brought it down, but it was placed in a place which was not safe. And then I have this little grandson now. Then he moves. He moves everywhere. And, they used to be cute. They just stood still and they don't move. Now they move everywhere and and he's getting closer and closer to that menorah. They're getting closer and closer. And so are you allowed to move the menorah? You allowed to move the menorah it was with all the glasses and everything. There was muksa. Why was it muksa? Because the actual menorah was probably a chesron kes. The actual menorah is a chesron kes, and it had the glasses on it. It was all together, all the menorah stuff there. And I was afraid that one would pop over with the glass and the glass would fall on the floor. And then that would be dangerous. So would you be allowed to move that? Is that called makam hezek? That's not the case of Shulchan Aruch. What? The whole time move the baby over and over again. Keep pulling it by the leg, Right? No, it's also you're going to go to sleep Shabbos afternoon and you're afraid what's going to happen. It was nerve-wracking, And I was thinking something else. I'll tell you one more thing. I was thinking like this. I was thinking that menorah I didn't light this year. I have a nice menorah and I don't light it this year because I light outside. I used to light it because my son was on the bar mitzvah, he light in the window, but now he's bar mitzvah. So nobody's lighting by the, I'm telling you all my stuff, but I used to light with that menorah. Now nobody used that menorah. So that menorah was just out. So I was supposed to put it away and it was just there and all the glasses were there. And if something that could get knocked over, I was thinking to myself, maybe it doesn't look like I'm ever lighting this menorah. I light by the door and that's it. I'm not lighting the menorah. I'm not going to light the menorah by the door. So maybe I was thinking, why don't I just keep it out as a noi from now on? That's what I was thinking on Shabbos. That won't help l'char on Shabbos, right? Because migud is katzai. As of when Shabbos came in, it was oymid for adlak. I made that decision on Shabbos. Well, l'char, I can make that decision now for the rest of my life, right? I'll just keep it out now. And then I'm never going to light it again. And I've just turned it into a noi. No? What do you think? What? No, because again, it's a davar shel heter. I'm keeping it now just as noi. What? Noi, it's just noi. I'm not using it anymore to light. But then I think to myself, is that really true? Like what? I won't light it. Of course, I'll light it if I have to, right? Could you do that? Is that a real thing? I ask you another question. Wait. 50 weeks in the year. Let's say I do use 50 weeks in the year. This thing is noi, and I definitely am not using it. 1 week a year, right? 1 week a year, I use it for candles. What? I don't know if that's true. 51 weeks a year, I keep it. Happens to be until now. I always just put it into a closet. I don't have a break front. I just threw it into a closet, and now I said, well, I'm never going to use it, so I might as well keep it as noi. Right? But let's say those people that for 51 weeks a year, they keep it as noi, and for 1 week, they use it as a menorah. Why is that a chesron kes? No, because that I'm not sure if that's true. There's a little bit different. There's a difference between 350 days and 4 days. What? Sorry? I'm telling you that but in what I just said, you agree if I decide not to use it? Oh, that's the part of the question. What does it mean? I have to be machlit. I won't use it. But finish. If I have to be machlit, I'm not going to light from them. What? Vadai shmo. The only thing that's vadai is the helik b'shefer. What? The only thing is vadai is the helik b'shefer. All right, think about it. Everybody say. Okay.